If right now you're in a season of plenty, this is the time for you to save for that season of lack, because it might come in one way or another. Finances can really cause a big drift when it comes to marriage. So also discuss why the loan is necessary if you're taking a loan, and does it align with your family goals. That is why as a family you need to sit and come up with a mission, a vision and goals, so that even when you're taking this money, what is it for? Ni ya kwenda trip diani ama ni ya kuinvest mnunue shamba ndio mjenge.
The book of Proverbs 13 verse 11, it says wealth gained hastily will dwindle.
Yes.
But whoever gathers little by little will increase it.
Exactly.
Hii unataka tiniekelee so nipate 100,000. Ulisikia wapi?
It involves poor stewardship. Again, Romans 14:12. So then each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. And Proverbs 21:5 says the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty.
Wow.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.
There's some projects that you cannot do unless you take a loan.
That's true.
And it's very okay. But there are these couples who take the loan and then the wife does not know. Nambebe pesa ndanga wapi? Wako unaona?
Yani umeenda too direct. See, there's someone who is complaining we are hitting.
Yeah. Atina muattack.
You just decided to go for the jugular. It's okay. It's true. Finances, in terms of when it comes to secrecy, especially when it comes to debt, this can erode trust within families. And we see it so often. You even find when, let's say, spouses have died, especially the man, that is when the widow comes to find out that the man had loans, and then you wonder what? Na hii pesa ilienda wapi na mimi sikuiona. So it's very important that you be transparent about existing debts before taking on any more loans, for starters. Even when the marriage is starting, when the two people are deciding to get married, one of the things that you should talk about is how much debt are you bringing into this marriage, because the moment that debt comes into the marriage, it ceases to be my debt and it becomes our debt. That is one thing people need to understand. That when it becomes our debt, that means we are both responsible for it. So are you also willing to take up someone's debt? That's one of the things that you need to understand.
Yeah.
Because someone can come there with so much debt, yet your credit score, iko sawa. You've never taken a loan. Yako CRB. Are these things you're willing to take on?
Yeah.
Because we say that finances can really cause a big drift when it comes to marriage. So also discuss why the loan is necessary if you're taking a loan, and does it align with your family goals. That is why as a family you need to sit and come up with a mission, a vision and goals, so that even when you're taking this money, what is it for? Ni ya kwenda trip diani ama ni ya kuinvest mnunue shamba ndio mjenge? What exactly is it for? And does it align with your goals? And then the most important thing is to ensure that both partners are involved in the decision making.
Wow.
So that no one person is taking out the loan. Yes. That way you find that most people are left wanachwa mataani. Mtu alichukua loan, amebaki ni analipia loan. Then what happens in that case? You know, someone now is emotionally distressed because they're left paying a loan that they should not have been paying for in the first place by themselves. And then you also need to evaluate the necessity of the loan. One of the questions you need to ask yourself, is the loan for a need, a want, or an emergency? And then now from there, you prioritize loans for productive purposes such as education, home improvement, or a business rather than luxury items. And then avoid taking loans to fund lifestyle beyond your means.
Wow.
We've seen people do that a lot. We were talking about visiting your friend's house.
Nopata alibai the brand new
bus
SUV. Sama babe, we need that.
We need. Na unenda una apply.
Yeah. Baby, you know, babe, we need to drop this thing. You know how they usually put the pressure.
Exactly. Na inakujanga subtly. It comes very subtle sometimes.
Yeah.
You're driving and then the car starts off all of a sudden the seats become uncomfortable.
No, babe, this is a side. You remember? This is a side. I told you.
Miguzi meisha. all maybe sometimes all on suddenly the car starts to develop mechanical issues out of nowhere, and then that is when you decide, now we need to change this car. And before you know it, you're taking a loan to buy a car, yet maybe it would have been cheaper for you to fix the car you had at that time. So you need to sit and really think hard why you're taking this loan. And then when it comes to debt repayment, you need a clear plan that prevents missed payments and additional financial stress. So pay your debt within your means. That is what I'm trying to say. And you can use tools like budgets or debt calculators. There are so many free apps online that can help you come up with these things to determine how much of your income can go towards the repayment. And then work on paying off high interest loans first before all the others. And also explore, there's a method called snowball method, whereby you pay the small debts first as you tackle the ones that have high interest. So work with such methods. There's a very good gentleman by the name Dave Ramsey. He's very good when it comes to financial literacy. He has a podcast. It's something I would highly recommend for people to listen to. And he also comes from a Christian perspective because he's a born-again Christian. So he's really good when it comes to helping people get out of debt and just teaching them how to go about being everyday. He calls them everyday millionaires. Wow,
I think we need to listen to that. But even as you've mentioned about living within your means, there is the issue of now investing. And let's talk even about savings, because I think that is also most important thing. And you'll find someone is saving, but to a point that, of course, on this locked, it's a locked account. So to the point that in as much they will need money for other things, anamwambia definitely akuna hiyo tuliweka kwa savings account. And then also we also mentioned about secrecy also when it comes to saving. And someone was sharing a very, very funny story of how he said that, we have been paying the rent for this place that we're staying in for almost 5 years. And then the other day I came to realize that this house belongs to my wife.
I've had such.
Yes, so there's this issue of savings and secrecy and also investing. And so where do we put in terms of I know my salary, but I know my salary, I know what I'm getting. And also I'm trying to be financially stable, because I don't want to save to a point that I may save but I end up nimeishiwa. Because also right now we know the deduction that are happening.
That's true.
Unaenda unapata even unaweza sema to just give me the tax and take my salary.
True. I agree with you
because
completely.
of
it's a lot, and I know especially Kenyans, we're really struggling to just come to terms with how much we are being taxed, because literally half the salary is going to the government, or even more than half for some people, and it's becoming a nightmare. But I feel like and I'll go back to Dave Ramsey again. He's come up with a plan when it comes to saving. First of all, he talks about having an emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So work towards having an emergency fund. You tabulate your expenses in a month. How much money do you spend? So you save that for the next 6 months. That way, in the event you're out of a job or you are incapable of earning an income, you're sorted for the next 3 to 6 months. So that can be a guide. So that means you don't overspend. So if, let's say, maybe your expenses in a month, let's say, are 100,000 Kenya shillings, so work towards saving 6 months worth of that. Now, how you do it? So that would be, let's say, 600,000. So you divide that in months and save that. I would also suggest, if you're saving it, save it in an account that is earning you interest, but is also easily accessible, that you don't have to jump through hoops in the event you have an emergency to get your money. Another resource that I've come to appreciate on Instagram, there's Just Ivy Africa. She's a She calls herself a thinkfluencer when it comes to money matters. It's also very good to follow her. She's Kenyan, and she also offers advice when it comes to financial literacy and guides in terms of the financial companies and institutions that are best suited to handle Kenyan needs as well. So it's also a thing that I would recommend our listeners to go out and have a look at that as well. And also prioritize and be accountable. Create a sense of accountability for each other, such that you know how much we are saving, and the accounts should be transparent in such a way that you get maybe monthly statements, and you sit down for a family meeting and you go through the statements, so that each person knows that this is how much money we have, in terms of our savings, and this is how much maybe we are at a deficit for. Yeah.
And we need accountability.
Yes, you definitely need accountability. These are not things you decide you're doing by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finances in a marriage, the moment you said I do, and if people were to follow that to the moment you said I do, those things should be aligned, completely aligned. Transparency is key when it comes to finances.
A quick one before we hit the top of the hour. Do you think ladies are good managers than men when it comes to finances? For a home?
I would not say that per se, because I think it depends on someone's personality. But we are nurturing. And so a nurturing person means that they do want things to grow. But personality also does matter. We see some women who are spendthrifts and men who are very good at finances when it comes to managing money, and vice versa. So I wouldn't say that men and women are necessarily good money managers. I just say that it is more of an intentional process that either a man or a woman can become good at with training and intentionality. Yeah,
I think that is true, because also there's this saying that women, men have the seed, and then women have the now they get to multiply when they give you, so there is that belief.
I'm not disapproving that belief, but at the same time I'm not really focusing on it. As a woman, I feel like we need the safety net of knowing there's something to lean back on, and that makes you be more cautious, especially when it comes to spending money, and it makes you want to look at the future. Men are more risk averse. I mean, they're more risk prone.
Yeah.
Yes. Women are risk averse. So you will find a woman will tend to build, while a man will tend to just move very fast. Yes.
Awesome.
So that can be the difference.
Awesome. We know men are lovers of football.
Where is this conversation going?
I know, and I know most men, they love this issue of gambling.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see.
Yes. And so when it comes to finances, they will, wanasijui singine wanajiita aviator, sijui wanaieta sijui over 2.2. I don't know what they know actually what I'm saying right now. But you'll find that this betting, sometimes it's gambling. Yeah.
Yes.
It has, either it will work
or not. Yeah.
And so when it comes to finances, how are we supposed to handle that when you find someone has that habit?
Wow. I'm just thinking, I've just thought, and when you were talking, I just thought of it as an addiction, in the sense that it starts out very innocently, because the way I think these systems are set, you're set to win money, to draw you in, to pull you in, so that you can see that this is a lucrative way of making money. And then at some point, you will lose a very big sum of money.
Yeah.
But by that point, you're thinking, I can win this money back. So it ends up being an addiction. I personally would not want to gamble with my family's finances in that way. Again, we go back to the question of, is it something that your wife is aware of? If you're doing it in secrecy, if you do not feel the need to inform your better half that this is what you're doing, no, it's wrong. So if in yourself you feel the need to lie, you feel the need to keep it a secret, you feel the need to twist the truth, just know it's wrong. And it will cause some severe effects in the near future.
As the other partner, when your man or your husband or maybe even your wife comes in and say, babe, you know, today we actually got a jackpot, you know, and it brings some money and akwambia the way, or maybe it might not really tell you in exact. Are you supposed to follow up, say, ulize hii pesa imetoka wapi?
Of course.
You know, kuna watu wanasemanga tu, as long as you bring money, I'm okay.
Oh, so kama ameiba kama hiyo pesa ilibiwa, hawa watu wenye wanaendanga na G4S wanaenda wana rob bank, and then unaletewa mamilioni hapo, you're supposed to ask. That's what you're talking about, transparency.
Yeah.
Transparency goes both ways. The questions you have in mind, speak them out, and you as the other partner learn to speak out and say, this is where I've gotten the money from. Yeah. Especially maybe if your source of income is not really is sporadic, in the sense that it's here once and it's not. So it's important to have those channels of communication open. You can't just wing it and say, this time round I'm going to tell my wife where I got the money and next time I won't. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And when it comes to sharing now, and also giving out gifts in terms of cash, sometimes of course we, you know, the African setup, some of us, you want to be a blessing to our parents.
Yes.
Especially unapata like unataka kutuma kitu nyumbani, madhe apate sukari, or maybe tumbayeka maziwa and everything. So how do we do it in terms of to make sure that at least also on the other end we are not giving, and then we want to give in oneness? So you'll find that maybe your wife is not really agreeing to that, or maybe your husband, but also you want to give, you want to be a blessing.
That's why we talked about, let's go back, number one, to budget. First of all, give and it will come back to you. For starters, giving is an amazing thing. So someone who is not giving, or rather who does not feel the need to give, regardless of how little it is, that's an internal warfare that they need to deal with and understand why they don't want to give. Because as Africans, that is one of our bedrocks.
And can you give without the consent of your spouse?
No, you cannot.
Like as in, metumia made do, but my wife does not know.
That's an issue that needs to be worked on, because again we go back to the place of transparency when it comes to finances. So every single coin you're using should be accounted for. So that means if, let's say, you're doing a budget, hiyo pesa yenye umepeana hapo utandika ulifanya nini, ulinunua viatu, so that your wife doesn't know. What are you going to write that as? Where did the money go to? So you see, again, it goes back to lying. It goes back to an area of your relationship that has friction. And these things build up. So we need to look for ways to talk about these things that people find very hard to talk about. Why is it that you're finding it hard if I give my mother money? What is the pain point in that? You sit down and talk about it. Is it that you feel I'm giving her too much? Or is it that you feel we are giving your side of the family money and we are not giving my side of the family money? Is it that you feel we are giving money we do not have? Where exactly is the pain point? There is always a solution if the two of you put your heads together. Chances are it's those three. It's one of those. It's either one side of the family is being favored more than the other, and one of the partners is feeling this should not be the case, or there is not enough money and you feel sisi tunateseka yet we are giving out money. The extended family should also be aware that if finances are tight, you shouldn't expect so much from the other side of the family. If let's say the son, the husband tells the mother, this month we might not be able to send you the money as we normally send you, we'll only be able to send you X amount. So kindly bear with us because we are going through a financial difficulty. The extended family should be able to understand that. And in the event you're supporting one side of the family, you could find also in some cases whereby one side of the family is very well off, they don't need the support. So those are the discussions that need to be had. So are we supporting both sides of the family, or are we supporting one side, and what are the reasons for that? Yeah, it shouldn't be and you find in most cases the side of the family that is being supported is the man's.
Yeah.
The wife is not being supported kwa sababu bibi alioleka huku.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have seen that trend.
Yeah, it's like a trend. So the discussions are important.
Wow. And I think that issue ought to be sorted out, because I feel like this is one of the things that is destroying marriages nowadays. Feel like but also on the flip side would be, ever since you got married, you stopped supporting us. So there's that sense of entitlement from the extended family.
Yes.
But they don't realize that you have an additional responsibility.
Managing expectations.
Yes.
Those are things, enyewe. Therapist tuko na kazi. People.
Yeah.
Sit your family down and manage expectations. First of all, you and your wife have become one. Even the Bible says, leave your father and mother and cleave. This is your extended family is no longer your primary responsibility. Your primary responsibility is your newfound family. Your family of origin comes second to your family. That is something that we need to understand.
Yeah.
And the decisions you make in that family should be for the benefit of that family. Your family of origin should be able to understand that the decisions our son or daughter is making going forward, we come second to that.
Yeah.
And minimize your expectations. Yeah. Again, we go back to the historical aspect of our African culture. We need a mind shift, because you find that there are families that are being overburdened by bills. Someone is paying school fees for cousins and uncles, uko ushago,
and nieces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also the place of allowing yourself to just say no, and just allow yourself to be hated for saying no.
Yeah. And this no is not because you are selfish.
Yeah.
It is because, to be honest, you can't manage.
You now have a family, you're moving forward, you have to build this family. And so some of these expectations or some of these responsibilities have to be delegated elsewhere. Yeah.
Wow. And I think that point, imefika nyumbani. Now, before we bring this to a close, I would like you to handle the issue of, retrenchment or even job losses. You know that now affects our financial, planning. Probably when you started this year, some had resolutions and plans and goals, but then your contract was cut short. Now, the tough questions now begin. How are we going to survive?
Wow.
And now it's that place where, of course, bills are still counting. In as much you are saving, but this is something that caught you off guard. Yes. So when retrenchment happens, or maybe you lose a job, what do you do? Considering you're also a breadwinner.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. For starters, I think with retrenchment, you're given a severance package, right?
Yeah.
I would suggest, number one, take your time before using that package and get a financial advisor to guide you on the way forward. Do not make any major decisions within the first 3 to 6 months. Reason being, you've gone through a shock.
Yeah.
So your mental capacity at that point in time might not be the best in terms of you thinking what to do next. So you need to settle mentally and accept that this has happened. You've lost a job or you've gone through retrenchment. Yeah,
because people can really rush to make some decisions.
Yes.
Let's invest right now.
Exactly.
So that at least we get something by then.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're investing from a point of panic. So first of all, I would suggest put the money maybe in a money market or somewhere where it's gaining something for you, interest. Give it 3 to 6 months. Come to terms with the fact that you've lost your job or you've gone through retrenchment, and then now begin to work on deciding what to do with the money. Again, working on the 3 to 6 months emergency fund. If you've not, this is the year to do that. Start. So tabulate all your expenses, see how much you earn, see how much your expenses are, and begin to work towards saving for the 6-month emergency fund. So that in the event you've gone through retrenchment or through job loss, you have a 6-month window to help you. And the expenses go, by the way, when you're planning, it goes down to the bare minimum. Si ati kwa hizo emergency fund, when you're doing the expenses, you've put in things like outings. No, it's how much money do you need to survive.
Yeah, it's
your
survive.
basic needs to survive. Your basic needs, which is food, shelter, and clothing. Not outings na Mombasa trips. That is the emergency fund.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is what you need to save. If you have that and you go through that process of retrenchment or job loss, you have a cushion to help you. So you're okay for like the next 3 to 6 months before you decide what's next. We see that unfortunately most people don't do that, and we are found unaware. So in that case also look for help, look for a mental health professional to just guide you through, because it can cause depression and anxiety as well.
Yeah.
It can even cause PTSD. Yeah. So it's a trauma. Losing a job is a traumatic event. Yeah.
And I think also like we've mentioned, that is actually where we need to take care of our mental health and financial planning, and also professionals, because in case of such things, when they happen, how are we supposed to handle, especially for those people in marriage? Because in marriage it's just a matter of when.
True.
Not if.
Yeah, it happens.
And so how do you maneuver through it? Because I believe even for the newlyweds, they usually get married and then assume, or maybe think like our life is going to flow like this.
Yes.
And then when you get there,
True.
maybe,
I've just remembered something, Israel, as we're talking. There's a sermon I listened to a while back, and that sermon really opened my eyes. It was on the 7 years of plenty and 7 years of lack.
Wow.
Yes. And what I gathered from it is that there will be 7 years of plenty and there will be 7 years of lack. And that maybe could be proverbial, but there are seasons of plenty and there are seasons of lack. And what Joseph did during the seasons of plenty, he made sure he stored for the seasons of lack. And he made some very hard decisions, even taking grain from the people, and they had to buy the grain by selling the king their land. So what I'm trying to say is that there might be some very hard decisions that families have to make, cost-cutting measures that might make you feel like you're at the brink of bankruptcy to help you get through a very hard season come future times. So if right now you're in a season of plenty, this is the time for you to save for that season of lack, because it might come in one way or another. It can come in form of a sick relative. It can come in form of job loss. It can come in form of a child going to college in another country. It can come in form of a relocation that requires you to spend money. It can come in form of maybe a car accident that requires you to get another car. It might look different for everyone, but the gist here is that you need to be ready for that time. So my request to our listeners is, if you are in a season of plenty, this is the time for you to save for the season of lack, because it is coming in one way or another. Yes.
Wow. That is wisdom. Sharon, we wanted to talk something about, because you mentioned something when you are off air, and I realized, by the way, we cannot shy away from talking about that before we get into our devotion. The issue of now ladies being told you're not supposed to take loans.
Yes.
Because also, hapo kwa guarantor, usually write your husband.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I think it's a way of being cautious because of the stories we've seen with women being duped when it comes to money. You take a loan for a man and then you're left paying the loan. So it's a narrative that has been passed along. In a way, I feel there's some truth to it, in the sense that you should always, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, should always be cautious who you're taking. If in fact you're taking money for someone, you should be cautious as to why. Now, if you bring it down to the marital context, I think if you're taking it for a goal that the family has together, then it would be ideal. And again, transparency would really play a big part. But if you're taking money for a boyfriend who you have no commitment to whatsoever, I would advise against it. Yes.
And I think even in regards to that, I think you are in the spirit actually, because someone's texting here saying, my husband left me with a loan of 327,000.
Wow.
Then I lost my job 5 months later.
Wow.
With 3 children, it's been a tough journey. Try to recollect myself. So what should I do?
Now, unfortunately, at that point in time, she's doing a good job, first of all, trying to recollect herself. And it's very unfortunate that this man left her with a loan.
Yeah.
And that's the narrative we hear over and over again. Women who've taken loans and then they are, left paying for that loan. I feel like there's some things that we really need, number one, to be very cautious about. If at all, and the red flags are normally there. By the time, if we were to get her side of the story, she must have noticed something, or there was something that was telling her not to take the loan. But then again, as a woman, you feel, I need to support my family, I need to show up in a certain type of way, and then you're also stigmatized for not wanting to take the loan because you're seen as you're not pro family. So I believe that in some cases you need to stick and stand your ground. If at all you're having difficulty deciding to take the loan, even if you're married, I don't feel like your partner should force you to take that loan. If you're having the reservations, you should first of all work through those reservations before you decide to enter into something that is tying your finances in that way. Yeah. And unfortunately, these situations have a way of making someone feel like you're obligated to take the loan.
Yeah.
But deep down, you know that there's something that you should not take that loan, but you still go ahead and do it. Yeah.
And so in this case, how does she, get back on track? It has already happened. The husband has left, and all these debts.
I feel like if she's willing, she can take the legal route, in the sense that if there's a paper trail to show that truly this money she took for her husband, and to show that there's non-repayment in that way, and maybe there was an agreement to that effect, she can take the legal route. And that's the other thing maybe we need to talk about, that if you're in such agreements, just cover yourself, not for anything, just as a backup plan. Yeah, make sure there's a paper trail to show where this money went, what it was used for, so that at least in the event such a thing happens, you're able to at least get the help you need, because we've seen so many such stories. Yeah.
Awesome. And one fun question here. Listening from Kitengela, hapo kwa gambling, is it biblical for a born-again Christian to gamble? And even as we get talk about it, because even for me, I've been asked this question time and time again, because the Bible says in the book of I believe it's 1 Timothy chapter 6 from verse 10, that the love of money is the root cause of all kinds of evil. So the Bible does not specifically condemn gambling, betting, or even lottery, but it is warning us, because what is the need?
That's the thing. Very good question. Gambling leads to greed, in the sense that the reason why this person is gambling, they're after quick wealth.
Yeah.
So that means,
and actually, it's very important for even as we talk about scriptures. The book of Proverbs 13 verse 11, it says, wealth gained hastily will dwindle.
Yes.
But whoever gathers little by little will increase it.
Exactly.
Hii unataka tiniekelee so nipate 100,000. Ulisikia wapi?
It involves poor stewardship. Again, Romans 14:12. So then each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. And Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah. In as much you might not say that it is evil necessarily, it is waste of money.
It is a waste of money. It is poor stewardship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And I hope we have answered you. Now, it's time for us to say kwaheri. Sharon, what will be your parting shot?
That families need to communicate. Families need to communicate. They need to stand together as one. And you need to sit and plan your goals. And if you don't know how, seek a financial advisor. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How can guys get in touch with you? Are you on social media?
Yes, I am. I am on Instagram. You will find me under Parenting with Compassion. That is parenting _with_compassion.
Awesome.
Yes.
96.9 FM, Pearl Radio.